Without a shadow of a doubt, I want to welcome you to the Cronkite Show in social media history. It's the WARZONE. Get on the phone and call somebody and tell them the great one is in the building. Who am I? I'm the five-star general, name that people gave to me. But I embrace it because I stay in wars with these rogue elected officials and rogue politicians. Let's make sure our settings are right. Okay, everything's straight. And I want to say good evening to you. I hope you've had a great holiday. Tomorrow is time for some of y'all to go back to work and earn a living. I'm blessed to say I don't punch a clock. I work for myself, and it's a blessing in itself. And I love to teach kids how to be able to accomplish that goal. I want you to push the share button on your video. We're going to get into some stuff tonight. I got a lot of screens I got to open up for you to be able to show you some things. You know, one of the biggest mysteries in the world is, how do schools survive when the state of Texas is not funding them right? The funding formula that they use is old and outdated. It doesn't work, and it doesn't benefit poor schools and poor communities that have small enrollment, some of them, so they don't feel like they have to fund them and take care of them. But I think that there's enough money coming down the pike to where we could take care of our schools. It's just being misused. If you don't know, the number kind of fluctuates. It can be 1.2, it can be $1.61 billion in ESSER funds that was sent down to the Houston Independent School District from the federal government to help with the loss of learning for our children that they incurred during the pandemic. So that some of you can clearly know our kids are about 6 years behind. Well, how do you come up with 6 years, man? We only did like 2.5 of the pandemic. Well, before that, they were 3 years behind in learning before the pandemic. So then you add in the pandemic, and then you add in this year, that totals up to 6. So they're 6 years behind in learning, a loss of learning. But the thing is there's a lot of money that's been floating all across the country. And it's supposed to help the children, but I don't see the money making it down to the school levels. But I do see the same similarities in the Houston Independent School District that I've been looking at for 14 years, the misuse of money. TEA clearly knows that they're misusing the money because they're under conservatorship. They have no backbone. So what they do is they do everything the conservators tell them. So if the conservators are telling them to do this and do that, and our school is performing badly, school district is performing badly, is it a setup, or are the conservators just as dumb as I think they are? And TEA, for that matter. I want to take you back. Had a good friend. We ended up being really, really good friends. And his name was Richard Patton. He was the auditor for HISD, and he was fired a year after Mr. Patton was fired unceremoniously from HISD. He was the guy that watched over everything, made sure the money was straight. And as soon as he figured out something, they got rid of him. Said he made too many copies on a copy machine. And this was their reason for getting rid of him. So who in the building now is watching our tax money? Let me give you some background on my man, Richard Patton, and you tell me what you think.
HISD's former chief watchdog is walking away with hundreds of thousands of your dollars as part of a legal settlement with the school board. And this settlement says the district and Richard Patton are choosing to buy peace. However, our investigative team found the settlement is also enforcing quiet. And reporter Ted Oberg still has some questions.
Richard Patton was HISD's chief auditor, the guy who was supposed to look for wrongdoing inside Texas's largest school district. He took his job seriously, and when he was shown the door, he said,
And I'm sorry for the taxpayers that I'm not able to stand up for you and protect your money.
Patton was suspended as auditor on March 10, 2016, just a few months after he reported potential criminal violations to HISD police, and just 3 days after district documents reveal Patton informed the district he'd been talking to the FBI about HISD issues.
Did his discussions with the FBI have anything to do with his suspension?
No,
And how can we be so sure?
you have to take my word for it.
Then board president Manuel Rodriguez passed away a year after that interview, and the school district has repeatedly refused to release even a page of the $17,000 investigation into him you paid for. In 2016, Patton's lawyer called Houston ISD.
Hide and seek ISD.
Patton was suspended during that costly internal district investigation. In court filings, 2 board trustees admit the investigation revealed nothing against him worthy of any discipline. When the investigation concluded, Patton was brought back to work for a very short time before being told his contract was not renewed. Well, after that, Patton filed a whistleblower lawsuit against HISD alleging retaliation. In district documents filed in court, Patton said he'd recently raised concerns about HISD contract irregularities before his suspension and eventual separation. It's unclear if that's what he spoke to the FBI about. Neither HISD police nor the FBI has brought any HISD-related charges, and district leaders deny wrongdoing. This month, though, HISD will pay $350,000 of your tax dollars to settle Patton's lawsuit. The ex-watchdog gets $205,000. His attorneys get $145,000. The board members get a promise from Patton not to say anything that could disparage the district. You, the taxpayer, you get no answers at all. Former auditor Richard Patton, he won't speak. The district won't speak at all. In fact, the lawsuit is over, and neither of them have to admit they ever did anything wrong.
I got it wrong. I remember Rodriguez passed away, not Patton. Patton was a good guy. And I had the opportunity to speak to him one time in the foyer of, and I spoke to him multiple times. But the last thing he told me when he saw me that last time was, don't stop what you're doing, Monroe. You're on to something. So I brought up Richard Patton because that proves there's a pattern and there's a history of wrongdoing with our tax dollars. That proves that. So, you know, after Patton left, that's when the feds came through a while later. And they found the things that was mentioned in this lawsuit about the contractors. They found it. But the question is your tax dollars being used the right way? Well, let's go in here and let's look at a screen. This brings me up to date. Let's go look at a screen. I'm going to share a screen with you. I don't need a volume on this one. And let's look at this. Okay, let's make sure that you can see it. 5-year HISD audit finds $300 million surplus as teacher pay continues to rank below other school districts. So let's go through this article real quick. This was before they got the raise. HISD overestimated its spending needs by $300 million over the last 5 years, only to find that same period with more than $300 million in additional surplus funds, even as the district moved to eliminate teaching positions. Teacher compensation ranked below other districts in the region, and administrators urged tighter spending, according to an outside audit of the district finances. The surpluses nearly doubled HISD unassigned general fund balance during the last half decade, putting the district reserves well in excess of standards. The auditors wrote in their draft report last November, the district's total fund balance has increased by $258 million since 2016, with $170 million in its unassigned fund balance. HISD Chief Financial Auditor Glenn Reed said. Let's keep going. Auditors at the New York-based management firm Alvarez and Marcel wrote, budgeting processes are overly cautious with a scarcity mindset, which generates reserves rather than putting funding to work for kids. So basically, they don't know how to disseminate money, and our kids get the short end of the stick. The audit, one of the several outside reviews undertaken since the arrival of Superintendent Millard House last July, also found HISD had not properly resourced the planning and execution of federal COVID-19 relief dollars or established a system of oversight, implementation, and accountability for federal money, according to a copy of the draft obtained by the Houston Chronicle through a public records request. Since then, district officials have said they are creating a portal expected to go live in weeks for the public to track the use of the money. House addressed that audit at Thursday's Board of Trustees meeting, saying the intent to review was to get to the root of the district's budget issues and to help develop more efficient processes and systems. After arriving, he said he wanted to understand how the district had $300 million available beyond its rainy day fund. He called the auditor's support since then vital in ensuring every dollar is being used strategically to improve student outcomes. I want you to remember that sentence. He called the auditor's support since then very vital in ensuring every dollar is being used strategically to improve student outcomes. We want to ensure the public that moving forward, that our budgeting process will strike the correct balance between fiscal responsibility and maximizing use of taxpayers' dollars to promote academic outcomes, House said. A final audit report was never completed, according to HISD. Why wouldn't you do a final audit report? The district regularly overestimates payroll expenses, HISD's largest spending category, and some non-payroll areas such as operating expenses and the cost of supplies and materials the auditor wrote. All spending categories were overestimated in the latest budgets, although the auditor said it is likely the COVID pandemic had an impact on that. Yeah, you caught the COVID, so you don't know how to add and subtract. The district's fiscal year runs through June. The current budget is $2.7 billion. We have engaged Alvarez and Marcel to continue working with the district on continuing to review and improve the district's financial landscape, Reed said in a statement. HISD is currently working with outside consulting groups to address the expenditures. A representative, I went too far, hold on, let's go back. A representative from the firm has been in the HISD boardroom during recent budget workshops. The Houston Chronicle, Texas, don't have enough mental health, but that's something else. With this 5-year strategic plan, House had proposed centralizing the funding of specific positions and programs, which would have been a change from HISD prior's decentralization organization that grants principals wide discretion in using funds given to campuses. After several trustees had raised concerns in recent weeks, it was not clear whether he had the majority supporting the changes. Last week, House said he asked the administrators to come up with a plan that would let campus principals maintain control over their budgets while requiring they staff key positions and provide critical services. He occasionally has spoken about the district's finances, most recently in a Chronicle op-ed at his State of the Schools address, where he said the system had been plagued by waste, short-term budget gimmicks, and fraud. The audit report, which was shared with trustees, also found HISD has completed or is on track to complete most financial-related recommendations in a review of district operations conducted by the state that was released in 2019. The state review identified operational shortcomings that were shortchanging students, taxpayers, focusing in part on how the district's decentralization had led to the delivery of inconsistent resources to students and poor monitoring of spending. In that review, the state's legislative budget board made 94 recommendations to improve operations. Alvarez and Marshall report from last fall found HISD is completed, partially completed, or is in the process of addressing 10 of 11 findings that were related to the district finances. One finding HISD had not started tackling as of November was tying campus spending to individual school improvement plans, the auditor wrote. Performance-based budgeting or budgeting aligned specifically with school improvement plans cannot be implemented within the current decentralization process. Hold on a second, you guys. Let me double check something. Okay, let's try something. Let's go to groups. Okay, I'm going to share it down. It remains unclear. Our House announced compromise on decentralization budgeting would affect that effort. In addition to requiring every school to staff key positions, how expectations and hold campus accountable for improving educational outcomes and eliminating achievement gaps for all students they serve. Board President Julie did not experience. She said it appears the auditor recommended the district have better training and tools for principals to enhance budget forecasting because imprecise predictions ultimately can affect the kids. When you look at an aggregated over 5 years, whatever that says, that is a lot of money. I just think the difference that money could have made for educating our students, this is ultimately why we exist as a school district, Cruz says. If we are not allocating all resources, we can closest to the students, that's a misprint, or at all, then we are going to fall short in our mission. The draft report almost accused HISD of having a big bank account and being crummy at planning, which has affected its planning for using one-time federal COVID relief money, said Dr. Stephen Craig, a professor of economics at the University of Houston. None of this is easy, but the idea is you want to be able to maintain your programs, even if the state gives you a budget cut. But at the same time, you want to be accomplishing your educational objectives. If you put money in the bank in good times and bad times, then you're just putting money in the bank. You're not exhibiting that you are operating your institution, your school district, with a purpose. Former trustee Ann Sung noted HISD maintains a reserve of 3 months worth of operating expenses in accordance with board policy, and school systems that have dealt with a lot of uncertainty recently, which would make having more money stocked than required not unreasonable. So basically, guys, let's go over here. Basically, these people don't know how to add and subtract. So you're telling me that you don't see nothing wrong with misquoting that you had an additional $300 million, that basically you were hiding. And the question is why were you hiding? Because you're going to figure out a way how to get it out of there. And normally how you get it out is you do it through the procurement process, through your friends who have contracts with the districts. They'll get their money, you kick them back, they get their money. $300 million, and you don't see nothing wrong. So, you know, when all this is going down, HISD in turns decides that they're going to go on a hiring freeze, that they're not going to hire anybody. So, you know, at that point, they're like, we're doing bad, and we have to slow down on what we're doing. So let's look at this, and then we'll get into our next segment of what I'm about to speak about.
Expected changes at HISD, a spending and hiring freeze after they realized how much money that they were down. ABC 13 reporter Charlie Etzity's been listening to the meeting. What is going on here, Charlie?
Yeah, good morning to you, Jacob. Well, the district is really tightening up their purse strings in hopes that it will save them some money because, according to the superintendent, the district has been operating in a deficit of millions of dollars. The projected deficit this school year is 70 million. So the hope here is through these drastic changes, they can get some money inside of their bank account. But these spending changes were announced yesterday by the superintendent, Millard House, and they also went into effect yesterday as well. Now, first up, one of the biggest changes is a hiring freeze that's going to affect employees at the district's central office.
Stop right there. They said that there would be a hiring freeze at the central office. Is that what they just said? I need y'all to make sure that I'm seeing this right. That there would be a hiring freeze at the central office level. That means they're not going to hire anybody. That doesn't mean they're not going to fire anybody, but that means they're not going to hire anybody. Is that what I'm seeing right there? Is that what you guys heard? Is that what you heard? I'm just trying to figure it out. If there's going to be a hiring freeze, there should have been a hiring freeze. Well, that can't be true. How would you have a hiring freeze when Rick Cruz, after this, hired 60 of his friends, created 60 new positions, and used COVID money? Well, the reason Rick could use COVID money is because he's over the 1.2 or 1.6 billion. So you lied. You said there would be a hiring freeze, but yet you allowed Rick, and he's still hiring people till this day. During the middle of a hiring freeze, you hired not one, not six, but 60 people. Let's go back.
The next big change is freezing most of the spending that's happening at all of the campuses across the district. 75% of their budgets will be impacted by this. As for that remaining 25%, that money, we're told, it goes towards COVID-19 expenses as well as special education. That will not be impacted by this. As for how long these...
Hold on, let's stop right there. Said that money would go towards COVID expenses and special ed. Well, how much money have you spent in special ed? You don't have enough special ed teachers. You don't have enough, co-teachers for special ed. So how much money did you actually spend on special ed? Let's go back.
These changes will be in effect, well, the district says, for the remainder of their fiscal year, which ends in 3 months. So changes most likely going to last through the end of the school year and, of course, affect thousands of students and teachers. Now, Superintendent House says that he really wants to be able to improve the district's financial situation so that teachers can get paid more money and also that the funds can be used more effectively in the district. So moving forward, schools will have to prioritize the things that they feel need more funding in order to get approval.
Process also includes an opportunity for school-based administration to present to the school's office any needs that they feel like, and if those needs cut the mustard in terms of supporting children and ensuring that student learning is supported as well, those needs will be approved.
And the superintendent is hoping that by making all of these changes that the district can save up $100 million.
That student learning is supporting children, those needs for
approval.
Let's go back.
Process also includes an opportunity for school-based administration to present to the school's office any needs that they feel like, and if those needs cut the mustard in terms of supporting children and ensuring that student learning is supported as well, those needs will be approved.
All right. So basically, the principals had to beg the administration for money to meet the needs of the students. So, Mr. House, while you've been superintendent for 18 months, I'm going to use Tiffany Guillory as an example. How many times did she tell your district she needed something for her kids? Well, I guess it didn't cut the mustard. I guess it did not cut the mustard. And how many times have other principals asked for the help that they needed and the district never gave it to them? Let's go.
And the superintendent is hoping that by making all of these changes that the district can save up $100 million over the next 3 months. Charlie Edsity, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
All right, people. That's where we at. That's where we at right now. So we're going to kill that screen. So basically, they had to beg the district for the support that they needed. And I could firmly remember that the principal at Jackie A. Senior High School, because I'm familiar with the situation, had been asking for help, resources, and support for the last 3 years. And she didn't get it. So let's go to our next screen. Let's go to our next screen. Let's fire this up so we can really get to the nuts and bolts of this thing. All right, here we go. Okay, we got it open. We're gonna make it bigger. Let me make sure you can see, and now you can see it. Let's go.
In the 13 Investigates office, we believe it's important to know how your money is being spent. Today, HISD is making that a little bit easier, a way to track the more than $1 billion worth of COVID relief funds the federal government sent to HISD. The district has a dashboard out now that you can see how virtually every dollar of it is being spent. HISD got almost $1.2 billion of those dollars. You can see on the dashboard, a little more than $600 million of it is already allocated, meaning they've decided what to spend it on. $320 million of those dollars is already spent. So when you drill down, you can see some of the biggest expenditures, $88 million worth of it to make up for a shortfall in state funding on attendance. The second biggest thing, $83 million on heating and air conditioning repairs, which I suppose you could call a COVID expense, but keep in mind, none of that money has been spent, according to the dashboard.
So we have kids at schools where the add-on work. You allocate $82,952,000 for upgrading heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. Let's go over to Jackie A. Senior High School. During the summer, for almost 3 months, school personnel had to work in the main office area of the school while no air was working, where they had to use fans, and you got $82 million allocated, and you didn't spend a dime to fix the air until it was almost school time. There's reports of children sitting in classrooms that had no air conditioning, burning up, sweating. You have schools that's molded, all kinds of stuff. But you got $82 million allocated, and according to Ted, you hadn't spent a dime. Let's keep going.
Teacher stipends are $51 million. That's for pay increases and a retention bonus. Middle school laptops and tutoring efforts each got $34 million apiece.
$34 million for tutoring. Or where y'all do that at? Because at the high schools on a daily basis, when the bell rings at 4:10, most of the high schools, except for the affluent ones, the kids are ran out of the building if they don't play sports or they're in the band or majorettes or something like that. So when are you spending $34 million on tutoring? Let's keep going. This COVID money, y'all.
You can see all of it there, all the way down to the smallest expenditures. The dashboard is part of the commitment new Superintendent Millard House made to transparency. He believes being transparent about the way the district is spending money is one way to rebuild trust in HISD. Couldn't agree more. After all, this is your money. It may have come from the federal government to HISD, but you gave them every one of those dollars.
So, according to Millard House, the way you rebuild trust is people need to know what their money is being spent on. We need to know that you got $1.2 or $1.6 billion in ESSER funds, COVID money, and you want us to trust that you're doing the right thing. Well, I can do that. I have no problem doing that until I get to digging. And when I get to digging, I'm going to call bullshit. Let me show you the next screen. So let's go to the district dashboard. Let me see if I can make it bigger for y'all. Let's make sure. I'm trying to make sure that I can get it up there. All right, here we go. We can do that. This is what they supposedly in 21-22 spent a portion of that money on. This is their dashboard. This is their dashboard. This is what they put on their website. I got a strange feeling the website gonna come down after this. So at advanced placement program expansion, they budgeted $462,000. They say they spent $461. Now, for some reason, they got this stuff rigged to where you really can't see the whole screen. So what I want to do is I need to go in and I got to be able to, let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay. Let's go over here. Okay. Let's try this. So we're going to look at this line right here. You see that line I have? Let's go back up. I want to look at this first line. Okay. Let's advanced placement is actually the second line. So advanced placement, let's go to the first one. Let's put it there. Advanced placement, international baccalaureate, whatever it's called, dual credit study academics. Okay. These where the kids can get the associate's degrees. I can only do it like this, guys. This program is to support advanced placement for international baccalaureate. Okay, so let me see if I can, and dual credit. Okay, so there we go. So for your high achieving students, all you allocated was $44,000. That's it. $44,000. Well, to some people, they'll say that doesn't seem strange to me. I don't understand it. Okay, well, let's look at some other things. So you got $1.2, $1.6 billion. I want to go down here. For air filtration system, you allocated in 21-22, $27 million. Is that to keep the air clean in the school? So you need to spend $27 million on that. Okay, let's go in here. Assistive technology. Let's look at this one. Let's go in. Let's pull the screen over a little bit. Okay, let me see. Right there. Let's go in here. I'm trying to pull the screen over, guys. Okay. Assistive technology, you spent $1.5 million. Technology to support students with disabilities. Right? Okay, so let's go down here a little bit, which I think is BS because you don't. Now I want you to look at something. Let's go right here. Backpack Buddy Program. What the hell? Let's go in here. Let's look at this Backpack Buddy Program. All right. Let me open this up again. What the hell? That's a partnership with the Houston Food Bank to provide meals. So it's a partnership. You spend $97,000 on that. So behavioral support, professional development, and labs. Support students with specialized needs that have been, that have behavioral issues. Okay, so let me go in here and make sure you understand what they're saying they spent $1.1 million on. When a kid slaps the hell out you in the classroom, they send him to the office, then they send him back to class. That's what $1.5 million been spent on. They don't know how to deal with behavioral issues, so they threw money at the problem, which made no sense. But it gets interesting. So the bus drivers, transportation, attendance, the stipends, they gave 1.6, and they should have gave more than that. Campus computer labs, you say you spent 6.2 million on that. Where the computer labs at in most of these black high schools? Where they located? I don't know where they located, but this the one you're gonna like. Now let's go back up here. I want to show you this again. Assistive technology to support students with disabilities. And they spent 1.5 million, but they know how to spend the money the right way. Am I right? So now I want you to come here. Water bottle distribution. So that's to provide water to campuses with when water fountains are closed. That's all I can show you from that because it won't open up the right way. That's to provide water. So you're going to spend 1.5 million for technologies to help disabled children, but you're going to spend 3.3 million on some damn water bottles. The one thing that TEA is banging us on is CCRM numbers and TSI numbers. These funds are to support college entrance and placement exams. All right. Let's look at it right here. So if this is one of the things that TEA is banging you on, you only spent 900,000, but you spent 3 million on some damn water bottles. Campus-based COVID funds. You spent 2,667,000 to support the safe reopening of their campuses. Let's go down here. 3.3 million for flexibility for campuses in addressing learning loss. When do you plan on sending that money down to the school level, Doc? Because this was 21-22. You said that this is what you spent. Where that money at, man? Hold on, let me go up in here. Let me go up in here to y'all, bro, because I need you to understand me. Where that money at, man? Because ain't no money been sent down to no campuses for no loss of learning. Where that money at? $3 million. Now, I just saw my good friend Kenitra Walker say, I've been asking about tutoring at my son's elementary since the start of school. Well, in 21-22, Kenitra, they say they spent 28 million on tutoring our children, funding for on-campus tutoring services. Wow. But there is no damn tutoring services. So where's all this money going? I'm going to explain all that to you in a minute. So let's keep going. 10 million for wraparound services. But most of these wraparound specialists have created their own partnerships with outside entities. So where's that money? You're not sending it to the school level. Yeah, allocating and spending is two different things, Rontrell. They say they're going to need this amount of money. Let me go back in there. They say they're going to need 28,868,000, but they say they only spent 28,737,000. So if you've only spent that amount in a whole year, you know, it's like $100,000 missing. So where the money go? Career pathways and expansions. This is for our kids' educational purposes, my sisters and brothers. You only spent 1.1 million. But you initiative to grow teacher leaders on campuses. Well, how you doing that when you're getting rid of all the teachers? How you doing that when you ain't got enough teachers? So where did that million go? College readiness, college and career readiness reading program. Our children cannot read, but the only thing you invested is 191,000. How many schools in HISD? It's 196,000 kids, give or take a few in HISD, and you only invested $198, 198,000. So it's 274 schools, 196,000 kids. So you invested less than $1 per child to help them with reading. Let me do that again. Less than 4 quarters, 10 dimes, 20 nickels, or 100 pennies to make sure kids can read per child. But you got 1.2 to 1.6 billion. Let's keep going. College, career, military readiness, stipends for the advisors. You only had 104,000. Community-based enrollment supports. Okay, so those with low enrollments, this is how much money they invested. Let's go in here. Community outreach and systems to foster an increase, I guess, in enrollment. I can't see the rest. So you only put $60,000 over there. Oh, they're going to spend it all, Rontrell. They're going to spend it all. So you only invested $60,000 for all of these schools who are under-enrolled, who need to market and promote their schools. Only $60,000. And how many schools did we have messed up last year? 54. But they only worth 60,000. But they know how to spend the money, right? COVID health costs, you spent 12,000. Funds to pay for COVID-19 health costs for employees. Well, how are you paying for that when they got your messed up insurance? Let's keep going, man. Let's keep going. I want to look at some more of these numbers. Let's go here. Dyslexia interventionists and special education support teachers. They only spent 68,000. You don't have enough special ed interventionists and support teachers. So how you gonna do that? So let me put it to you a different way. You only invested 60,000. If you hire a special ed teacher, you got to pay her 61,000 at one school. I don't know all the mathematics, but that shit don't sound right to me. Let's see how well they spending our money. English and second language learners. Those are stipends for teachers, which is 900,000. English language learners, which are tutors, they spent 746,000. Enhanced school choice and enrollment tool. So you spent on technology for school choice, you spent $1,400,000. But to teach our children how to read, you couldn't crack but 60,000. Expanded college and career advisors, adding college and career advisors to high school campuses. You spent $3 million. Wow. Where they at? Hey, you say you adding these people. Where they at? I don't see them. Okay, let's go. Expanded mental health support, another $3 million. Expansion of wraparound specialists, $5 million. But you say you spent $4,938,000. Family and community engagement coaches. You spent $8,000. Fine arts assessments and supplies. Would that be like stuff for the art class, band uniforms, instruments? Well, guess what? On Black campuses, we don't see that. So where you spending this money at? On the black school campuses, middle school, high school, fine arts is damn near on life support. And it is on life support. You look at the Yates kids this year, they didn't have uniforms. They wore shirts and shorts and then sweats. You didn't pay for that. They raised money. So where the money at, man? Let's keep going, man. Let's keep going. You needed to get instructional material. So you spent $16 million on instructional material that's not even helping our kids. 16 million. Just in 21, 22. Now, let's go over here. So your Khan Academy dashboard, you spent $239,000. Tool to support scholastic aptitude tests, SAT prep. But don't you already have Khan Academy? So why would you have to double spend for that? Oh, okay. I think Max Mahler tried to explain that to us in his educated terminologies. Okay, let's go through here, man. Middle school laptop devices, you spent $11 million. So here's a dumb question. If you had got no COVID money, how are you going to buy laptops? To make sure the kids had the laptops. You already have money allocated for that. Let's go. You padding the stats now. Now you're making me mad. Now you're making me mad. Let's keep going. Let's go. Let's go here. Performance management department expansion. You say you're going to allocate $55,000 and you spent that $55,000. Pre-K literacy kits and backpacks. You say you needed $5,542,000. You say you spent that amount. Okay, let's go over here. Let's go. Let's keep going. I want to see. All right. $3.3 million for response to intervention, reading, and math interventions. Funding to hire campus-based interventionists for reading and math. But our kids can't read. So where all this money going? I'm going to tell you that in a second. Let's keep going. Spanish language. You only spent $500,000 and you say you spent $500,000. Special education instructional material. The most vulnerable students in HISD, but they only deserve $230,000 in special ed. Special ed resources, inclusive and co-teachers. You say you needed to spend $811,000. You say you spent $811,000. So why is a lot of our special ed classes, man, by substitute teachers, man? Why we don't have enough teachers, man, if you spent that much money? So you mean to tell me they got the money and they left? Let's keep going, man. Oh, man, this dude think I'm dumb. Special education teaching assistants. Okay, so let's go here. So you say you needed 88,000. You needed 88,303. And you say you spent 88,235 for teaching assistants. Where they located at? You got them hiding under the ground or something? And more importantly, so teaching assistants for special ed, you only allocate 88,000. How many did you get? 1.5, 2 for the whole school district? That makes sense. Let's keep going. Stipends for teachers, $54 million. You're taking this out of the COVID money. What I don't understand, if you're taking it out of the COVID money, why you didn't take it out to $300,000 that you didn't know you had, that you mysteriously found. Let's keep going. It's not making sense. Student Express buses. Let's go here. Purchase a fleet of vehicles to improve transportation. Hold on, man. Y'all can't get a kid to school on time. You can't get a kid home on time. But you telling me that you spent $6 million to purchase a fleet of vehicles. Well, where they at, man? These kids riding on the ragged ass buses, man. Come on, bro. You got to know we not stupid, man. It's 21, 22, man. I'm just looking at it. I'm just looking at some things. But all together, they said they were going to spend $414 million, and they say they needed $414 million, and they say they spent $412 million. But as you can see, the shit don't make sense. So let's go over here. Let's stop this screen, and let's open another screen. Let's go, because it takes time to do what I do. Okay, let's go here. Let's go here. And let's make sure we got the right screen open. Okay. So these are your ESSER funds for the year 22-23. That's this year. So you start off this year saying International Baccalaureate, you were going to spend, hold on a second, the year before you say you only spent $44,000. And this year you say you needed 30 and you ain't spent the dime. So let me ask you a question, Max Mall, because you need to spin the narrative, brother. You the smartest man in the room. Better go sit your ass down somewhere, because I'm gonna embarrass you. All right. So let me try this a different way. So you say you needed 30. Let's make sure we're on the right screen. You needed 30 and you didn't spend anything. So how can a Tiffany Guillory, who has an international baccalaureate school, as well as Cullen Middle School, operate their baccalaureate schools, and you ain't sending no money down to them? Yeah, but she's doing a horrible job. I think whoever's allocating this money is doing a horrible job. So let's go in here and let's look at some things. All right, same things. After school enrichment, transformation campuses. You say that you needed $4 million right here, but yet you've only spent $500,000 so far in one semester. So how are you going to spend almost $3.5 million on after school programs next semester at transformation schools when you only spent $500,000 this year? When you say you're going to spend $4 million, I wonder how you do that, man. So your backpack buddy program, you ain't spent no money there. You notice there are programs that have a lot of zeros. So they're not spending the money. So what are they doing with this money? Campus-based water distribution. You're saying that once again, you need $4,700,000, and you didn't spend no money. So this money that you're allocating to these spots that you ain't spending no money in, what happens with that money? What happens with that money? Let's keep going. Let's look over here. Campus-based tiered funding. You said you needed $49 million, and you say you spent $22 million. Okay, so let's go. Let's go. College and career readiness. Now you say you needed $900,000 right here, and you say you spent that much in a half a semester. So what happens next semester? This is when the kids really going to start applying for colleges. So what happens there? Communities in school, you needed $1.6 million. You say you only spent $63,000. You see what I'm saying? These numbers are not adding up. These numbers make no sense. They're all over the place. So let's go. I want to educational diagnosticians. I'm sorry. I can't pronounce that word. Bear with me. All right. So I'm looking for something. School choice. You needed to spend $1,836, $1,836,000, and you're already over budgeted because you spent 19. You spent $1,900,000. You're over budgeted almost by $100,000. Gifted and talented kids, you said you were going to spend 95, and so far you spent nothing. So IGT kids ain't getting nothing out the deal either. All right. Expansion of wraparound services. You say you needed to spend 19 million, but you say you've only spent 15. The question is, once again, where's this money going? I can't speak on the affluent community, but y'all need to start asking questions because the money ain't coming to us. We got wraparound specialists, but we got our own partnerships. We take care of our own kids at Yates. So how you sending money down to us? Okay, let's keep going, man. Let's keep going. All right. Let's keep going. Let's go look at fine arts again. Fine arts supplies. 6 million. You say you spent 3 million in the first semester. But once again, my kids had to wear my kids had to wear shorts and t-shirts. Didn't have enough instruments as usual. So where's the fine arts money going? Y'all see you see where I'm going with this thing? You see where I'm going with this thing? So let's go back up here. Let's go back up. I went too fast. Okay, so here we go. We were at fine arts. Okay. Funding for expanded libraries, 9,711,000. You say you've spent 9,686,000. So here's $1 million question, Max Mall. Max Mall, you like to spin the narrative. Where y'all what libraries y'all redid, homie? What libraries y'all redid? I'm still trying to figure it out, man. Let's keep going. Let's look at these numbers. HISD Tutor Corps, 982,000. You said you spent 982,000. We ain't got no tutors at our black schools. So where the tutor is going? Let's keep going. I could do this all day. Middle school laptop drive. So what you're telling me is you had to spend 11,574,000. That's what you allocated. And you say you spent 11,571,000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this so I can tell you how this works. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. They're allocating this money to these certain pots. You feel me? Hold on a second, y'all. You're allocating this money to certain spots. The money's not making it there. It's not making it. You allocate all you want. You can say what you're going to do with the money. But if the money never makes it down to the school level, which it has not, then the question now becomes, where's all that money? And since Rick is over ESSER funds, Rick, this is how you disseminated the money. This is how you hired all your friends. You used COVID money. Did you tell your friends when the COVID money is gone that they are going to be fired? Did you tell them that? Because there won't be any money to pay them. So where is the money? This comes, and I want to make sure we understand this. This ain't something I made up. This comes off of their website. And basically, somebody does not know basic mathematics. And what you're doing is you're cheating these children out of what they really need. Interventionists, you don't have enough. Tutors, you don't have enough. But yet, you're saying you're spending this money. So guess what I'm finna do? I'm finna split your wig. I don't even have my shot glass. But I got to hit the Hennessy from the neck on this one. You know why? Because somebody finna go to jail. You, your little vendor friends, and everybody else you down with. Somebody finna go to jail. Now, what I recommend is that you go inside that money you got left and you get our kids what they need. Yep, Kenitra said they're using teachers as interventionists, but that's fine. But you still allocated X amount of money for interventionists, and you said you spent X amount of money. So if the math teacher turns into the interventionist, where's the money for her doing that? Where did that money go? You feel what I'm saying? So so where is that money? Where is that money? See, the one thing y'all don't want to do with me, and I had a young lady on here earlier trying to tell me what I know. Andrea Bryce trying to tell me what I know. Does your 21 years of being in education trump what I said? I said if you couldn't trump me, that corner over there to the left, that's your corner. Go sit in that corner and be quiet. Because somebody's stealing a whole bunch of money. And these politicians ain't saying nothing about House right now. You know why? Because they need him to push the bond. And that's $5 billion they want in a bond, supposedly to build new schools. But why would we give you a $5 billion bond to build new schools when you're trying to close schools? You think that we are stupid. But because you're playing with this federal money, we about to bust your head. Expect some formal documentation from the United States Department of Education. Expect maybe a congressional hearing, because somebody finna go to jail for taking that money. Don't tell me I'm crazy. Not when your numbers that you put in there are all jacked up and they're not adding up. If you said something is $3 million for the whole year and you've only spent $500,000 in a semester, how are you going to spend the rest? Must be going to be a hell of a second semester. But you ain't going to do that because you got Rick over there playing with that money. So Rick, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to give you some advice, big homie. You look nice. You got a bald head. Where you going if you get caught up? Don't drop the soap, dog. Don't drop the soap. I'm going to bust y'all ass every night. Every night. And I'm going to bust your ass differently every night, but from different perspectives. And I'm finna put them people in your business. Remember what I said. Don't come down to 3650 fucking with us. And you chose to do that. So now I'm going to expose you across the board. So Millard, the buck stops with you. What you got to say now? Trustees, y'all need help helping him packing stuff? Because this is an abomination. Millard, I want to introduce myself to you. This is the War Zone, and I'm the 5-star general. And we are officially at war.